Mixed signals are not just confusing. They are mentally loud. They follow you into the shower, into work, into the quiet moments of your day because your brain keeps trying to solve something that will not hold still. One minute you feel chosen, the next minute you feel optional. One day they are warm, the next minute they are distant. And what makes it so hard is that your mind cannot file it as a clean ending. Your brain treats it like an unfinished puzzle, so it keeps scanning for the next clue. In this episode, I am going to explain why your brain cannot turn it off, what mixed signals do to your nervous system, the difference between hope thinking and proof thinking, and the exact rules that stop you from getting reset by one warm message. If this kind of clarity helps your nervous system settle, subscribe. PsychBond is a daily decoder for psychology, relationships, and avoidant and anxious attachment patterns, so you stop guessing. Let us start with the simplest truth. Your brain is not obsessed because you are weak. Your brain is stuck because the pattern keeps giving it just enough to keep searching. Mixed signals create uncertainty, and then small bursts of relief. And relief is one of the strongest bonding forces in human attachment. When you get a warm message after silence, your body feels a drop in threat. Your chest loosens. Your mind quiets down for a moment. That drop feels like safety, and your brain assigns meaning to safety. It says, "This matters. Do not lose it." Now, the trap is that the relief is not coming from stability. It is coming from contrast. The bigger the contrast between cold and warm, the bigger the relief. And the bigger the relief, the more your brain believes the bond is important. That is why you cannot turn it off. Your brain is trying to protect you from uncertainty by turning uncertainty into a story it can manage. But the story keeps changing, so your brain keeps working. Now, let us define mixed signals in plain words. Mixed signals are when someone gives you just enough to keep the bond alive, but not enough to make it safe. They keep the door open, but they do not walk through it. They act interested, but avoid clarity. They offer closeness in moments, but avoid consistency over time. They say they miss you, but do not change the pattern that hurt you. They come closer when they feel you pulling away. Then they pull away when you get closer. This is why it feels personal. You keep meeting different versions of the same person. One version is warm, present, and almost partner-like. The other version is vague, distant, and hard to reach. Your brain cannot stop trying to predict which version you will get today. That prediction effort is the exhaustion. Now, here is the nervous system part most people never get taught. Your brain is a prediction machine. It wants to know what happens next so your body can stay safe. Predictability is calming. Unpredictability is activating. When someone is consistent, your brain does not have to work as hard. Tomorrow looks like today. But when someone is inconsistent, your brain stays on alert because tomorrow could be warm or cold. So your brain does what brains do under uncertainty. It looks for patterns. It starts tracking. It starts reading tone. It starts checking timestamps. It starts rereading. It starts building meaning out of tiny things. It asks, "What did I do?" It asks, "What do they feel?" It asks, "What does this mean?" It tries to find the one move that will bring back the warm version and prevent the cold version. That is why it does not turn off. It believes thinking is safety. It believes thinking is control. Now we need to name the two mental modes that keep you trapped: hope thinking and proof thinking. Hope thinking is when your brain treats moments as evidence. It treats potential as a plan. It treats a warm message as a turning point. It treats chemistry as compatibility. It treats wanting as choosing. Hope thinking sounds like, maybe they are just busy. Maybe they are scared. Maybe they are not ready. Maybe if I give them time, they will come around. Maybe that message meant they finally realized. Maybe that like means they miss me. Hope thinking is not stupid. Hope thinking is your nervous system trying to keep the bond alive because the bond has given you real relief before. Proof thinking is different. Proof thinking is when your brain stops asking, "What does it mean?" and starts asking, "What does it do?" Proof thinking looks at behavior over time. Proof thinking looks at consistency, follow-through, clarity, and accountability. Proof thinking does not deny feelings. It simply refuses to build a life on feelings without structure. Proof thinking sounds like, if they want me in their life, they will show it consistently. If they cannot show up consistently, I have my answer. If they want access but avoid clarity, I know the relationship shape they are offering. Proof thinking is how you turn your nervous system back toward reality. Now, let us make this painfully practical, because the problem is not that you do not understand mixed signals. The problem is that your body keeps getting reset by small moments. One warm message can erase 3 days of stress. One sweet call can make you forget the weeks of vagueness. One good date can make you ignore the lack of follow-through after. That is why your brain cannot turn it off, because your brain is repeatedly being taught that checking might lead to relief. Every time you check your phone and there is something from them, your body gets a reward. Even if the reward is small, it is a reward. It tells your brain, keep checking. This is why mixed signals can feel like a slot machine. The next check could be the one that makes you feel okay. And that is how your attention gets hijacked. Now I want to take shame off your shoulders. If you feel obsessed, it does not mean you are broken. It means your nervous system is in a loop. It means your body has been trained to treat access as safety. So the question is not, what is wrong with me? The question is, what is the pattern doing to my body? And what is the adult move now? That is where proof thinking begins. Proof thinking begins with one rule that ends a lot of suffering. A moment is not proof. A pattern is proof. Read that again. A moment is not proof. A pattern is proof. Mixed signals keep you trapped because they keep handing you moments. They keep giving you spikes that feel like proof, but they do not become a stable pattern. So your brain keeps trying to turn moments into a pattern by thinking harder, texting better, waiting longer, being cooler, being more understanding. But you cannot turn moments into a stable pattern by effort. Patterns only change when the other person changes behavior consistently. Now, let us talk about why mixed signals happen, so you stop making it about your worth. There are a few common drivers, and they can overlap. One driver is avoidant regulation. Closeness feels good. Then it starts to feel heavy, so they create distance to feel safe again. Another driver is conflict avoidance. They do not want a hard conversation, so they stay vague. Another driver is keeping options open. They want the comfort of connection without the cost of commitment. Another driver is emotional immaturity. They have not learned how to communicate clearly and follow through. Another driver is ego-soothing. They like knowing you are there. They like the attention. They like the attachment. These drivers are different, but the effect on you is the same. Your nervous system stays on alert. Your life starts orbiting their signals. Your standards start shrinking. That is why proof thinking is not about judging them as bad. It is about protecting your body from a pattern that harms you. Now let us get specific about what hope thinking looks like in real time so you can catch it early. Hope thinking is when you start doing mental gymnastics to make inconsistency feel safe. You tell yourself they are just busy, even when they are online and still not responding. You tell yourself they are scared of feelings, even when they show up perfectly when it benefits them. You tell yourself they are not ready, even when they are happy to take the benefits of closeness. You tell yourself the connection is progressing because the last talk was intimate, even though the week after is the same vagueness. Hope thinking is when you keep turning potential into a plan. Proof thinking interrupts that with one question. What has actually changed? Not what did they say, not how did it feel. What changed? Did the pattern change? Did the baseline change? Did the follow-through change? Did the clarity change? If the answer is no, then the warmth was a spike, not a shift. That is how you stop getting reset. Now, let us talk about why your brain cannot stop checking. Because checking is an attempt to reduce uncertainty. Uncertainty is uncomfortable in the body. Uncertainty makes your nervous system scan. Checking feels like doing something. It feels like control. But it does not create safety. It creates more exposure to the pattern. The more you check, the more you feed the loop. You might get a tiny hit of relief, then you crash again, and your brain learns the only way to feel okay is to check again. This is why the urge can feel physical. It is not just curiosity, it is relief-seeking. Proof thinking changes the goal. Instead of seeking relief through checking, you seek safety through structure. Structure here does not mean a big speech. It means a simple rule for yourself and a clear standard for what you accept. Now, I'm going to give you the simplest proof-thinking rules for mixed signals. Rule 1. Words do not count without behavior. If someone says they miss you but continues the same pattern, that is not proof. Rule 2. A warm return is not a reset. If they disappear and come back sweet, you do not pretend nothing happened. Rule 3. Consistency is the measure, not intensity. Intensity can be temporary. Consistency is effort over time. Rule 4. Clarity is basic respect. If someone cannot answer simple questions about what they want, they cannot build a safe bond. Rule 5. If you feel you must become smaller to keep access, the bond is not safe. Now, let us make it even more practical with the exact moments where people get hooked. Moment 1 is the late reply with a warm tone. They go quiet for hours or days, then they return with something cute. Your body feels relief. Hope thinking says, respond fast, keep it light, do not ruin it. Proof thinking says, slow down, not to play games, to let your nervous system settle. Then respond briefly. And if the pattern has been harmful, you add one structural line. I like talking with you. I also need consistency. Moment 2 is the almost plan. They say we should see each other soon, but no date and time. Hope thinking says, keep waiting, keep your calendar open, do not pressure them. Proof thinking says, if you want to see me, pick a day and time. If they cannot, you make your own plans. Moment 3 is the intimate night. They open up. They say things that feel real. You feel close. Then, the next day, their energy shifts. Hope thinking says, do not mention it. Be easy. They will come back. Proof thinking says, you do not chase. you watch. If you communicate, you do it in one clean line. If you need space today, tell me and give me a time you will reconnect. Moment 4 is the social media signal. They view you, they like something, they pop back in with a reaction. Hope thinking says, they miss me. Proof thinking says, a view is not a relationship. A like is not consistency. If they want access, they will show up clearly. Now we need to talk about the thought that keeps people waiting the longest. What if they do care and they are just scared? This is where proof thinking saves you years. Caring is not the same as capacity. Someone can care and still not be able to build a stable bond. Someone can feel something and still not be able to follow through. Proof thinking does not argue with their feelings. It simply asks what your body is living in. Is your nervous system safe? Is the baseline stable? Are you guessing every week? Are you shrinking to keep access? If you are, then the bond is not safe, even if feelings exist. This is not punishment. This is reality. Now, I want to name something that may feel blunt, but it will set you free. Mixed signals often protect the other person's comfort. They get connection when they want it. They keep freedom when they do not. Meanwhile, your nervous system pays the price. You carry the uncertainty. You carry the waiting. You carry the mental load. Proof thinking rebalances this by changing access. You do not give full access to someone who will not build a stable pattern. You do not keep your calendar open for almost plans. You do not keep offering emotional closeness to someone who does not protect the bond. You do not have to be cold, you just have to be real. Now, let us talk about how to turn your brain off in the most practical way. You turn it off by removing the assignment. Right now, your brain thinks its job is to decode them, to predict them, to manage them. Proof thinking gives your brain a new job. Observe capacity and choose accordingly. When your brain has a clear rule, it stops spinning as much. Here is the simplest rule you can adopt for mixed signals. If the pattern stays unclear after one direct question, I stop investing. That does not mean you explode. It means you stop deepening. You stop chasing. You stop building your day around a maybe. You move your energy back to your life. That is how the mental noise drops, because the noise is fueled by hope without proof. Now, let us talk about the direct question, because it needs to be simple. Do not write a paragraph. Do not explain your childhood. Do not beg to be understood. One line is enough. I like you. I want something steady. Are you available for that with me? Then you stop. Their answer and their behavior after is your proof. If they say yes but stay inconsistent, that is not proof. If they say, I do not know, and keep taking benefits, that is not proof. If they get defensive and call you pressure, that is also proof. Proof thinking treats defensive avoidance as information. It does not chase it. Now we need to talk about the comeback trap, because mixed signals often include returns. People disappear and return, and the anxious brain calls the return a sign. Proof thinking asks one question: what changed? If nothing changed, the return is not a new chapter. It is a reset attempt. A reset attempt is when someone wants warmth and closeness, but wants to skip accountability and structure. The way you stop a reset is not with anger. It is with a calm gait. I am open to reconnecting. Before we go back to normal, I need consistency and clarity. Watch what happens. A person with capacity might not love the conversation, but they can stay present. A person who wants comfort without responsibility will dodge, minimize, or go cold again. Either way, you get proof. Now, I want to address the fear that keeps people stuck. People worry that if they ask for clarity, they will push the person away. Here is the truth. If a bond can only survive when you stay unclear, it is not a secure bond. It is a bond built on you lowering your needs. And a bond built on lowered needs will always feel unsafe because a part of you knows you are not fully allowed to exist. So yes, asking for clarity can push some people away, but the people it pushes away are the people who could only keep you by keeping you uncertain. That is not loss. That is a clean ending. And clean endings are what let the nervous system heal. Now let us talk about your side of the loop. Because even with perfect proof thinking, your body may still crave the person for a while. That is normal. When you have been conditioned by contrast, your nervous system will still want the relief hit. That is why you must expect urges. The goal is not to never feel the urge. The goal is to stop obeying it. When you feel the urge to check, name it in plain words. Relief-seeking. When you feel the urge to send a perfect message, name it. Proof hunting. When you feel the urge to replay every word, name it. Uncertainty scanning. Naming it separates you from it. It turns the urge into a body experience, not an instruction. Then return to your proof rule. A moment is not proof. A pattern is proof. Now, let us make proof even more specific, because your brain loves loopholes. Here is what counts as proof in mixed signals. Proof is a plan with a date and time that actually happens. Proof is consistent communication, not constant, consistent. Proof is someone who can answer a simple question without flipping it on you. Proof is someone who can tolerate your normal feelings without punishing you with silence. Proof is follow-through over weeks, not one good night. Here is what does not count as proof. A late-night message, a sweet apology with no change, a social media signal, a promise to do better without different behavior, a burst of intensity followed by silence. When you start sorting signals into proof and noise, your brain calms down because it stops treating everything as meaningful. Now, let us talk about the part that makes people feel trapped in their own head. Mixed signals create 3 common mental stories. Story 1, I did something wrong. Story 2, they are losing interest. Story 3, I am not chosen. The problem is not that these stories exist. The problem is when you treat them like facts and try to fix them with more effort. Proof thinking does not fight the story with more thinking. Proof thinking uses the story as a cue to return to behavior. Even if the worst story is true, the move is the same. You do not beg. You do not perform. You do not shrink. You require clarity, and you observe. That is why proof thinking is so calming. It removes the idea that you must solve them. It replaces it with the idea that you simply choose based on what you see. Now I want to give you a simple way to stop your phone from being your regulator, because this is where the brain loop becomes a habit. Before you check, ask yourself 3 plain questions. Am I checking to get information, or am I checking to lower panic? If it is panic, I wait. Am I about to send a paragraph, or can I say one clean sentence? If it needs a paragraph, I wait. If they message me warmly, will I forget the pattern and accept the reset, or will I still require clarity? If I know I will forget, I wait. These are guardrails. They keep you from making decisions from alarm. They keep you from turning your nervous system into something another person can control by withholding. Now, let us talk about the moment that breaks many people. When someone labels your needs as too much. This is where hope thinking tries to earn safety. You start proving you are reasonable. You start explaining. You start apologizing for wanting normal. That is how you become trainable. Proof thinking uses one clean line and stops. I hear you. I still need basic communication and a plan. If you cannot offer that, I will step back. Then stop. The next move is the answer. A person who cares and has capacity might feel uncomfortable, but they do not punish you for existing. A person who lacks capacity makes you the problem so they can keep their comfort. This is why needs are such a powerful truth test. Needs reveal who can hold a relationship shape and who can only hold moments. Now, we close with the most important part. Mixed signals keep your brain on because your brain keeps believing one more sign will make you feel safe. But safety does not come from one more sign. Safety comes from structure and consistency. Proof thinking is the decision to stop negotiating with uncertainty. It is the decision to stop letting one warm moment reset you. It is the decision to choose based on patterns, not potential. If you are stuck in mixed signals, you do not need to become colder. You need to become clearer. Ask one clean question. Watch behavior. Require proof. Release noise. And remember this: you are not meant to build your life around hints. You are meant to be with someone who makes the bond easy to understand in the body. Not loud, not confusing, not constantly pulling your attention away from your life. And here is the final proof rule to keep your brain quiet. If you have to guess what you are to them, you already have your answer. Choose what is steady, not what is loud. Welcome to PsychBond. You're safe here.